Hi everyone, it is Kat and Julie, and thank you so much for joining us for our Facebook Live class. And we love doing these classes,
Yes.
so welcome back to those of you who have joined us before, and welcome to those of you who are new.
Yeah.
In this class, we're going to go over some amazing stuff. We have a giveaway, so we're going to talk about that in just a minute. But this class is all about the Wrapit Loom, and here I have the Professional Series Duo. And Julie actually has the original Wrapit Loom, so we're going to talk about both, how you can combine them, some of the differences, so lots of fun stuff to go over today.
A lot of very fun stuff. So we're going to open these up in just a minute. You see we've got lots of samples on the table. We have other supplies you can use with them. We're going to show you actually how to start a Wrapit Loom and actually how to finish it and do the beadwork on it, so a lot to cover. But if you have seen our classes before, you know you always have a chance to win a giveaway. And the way you win the giveaway, or enter it, I should say, is by leaving a comment on this live feed. And then we'll randomly select a winner at the end of our class, and we'll announce that winner live here on Facebook. So Kat's going to tell you a little bit more about what's in the giveaway, but please do start leaving those comments. They can be questions. They can be a shout out like, hi, I'm watching from Alaska, whatever it may be. Just let us know you're out there and leave some type of comment for us.
Yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from.
Yeah.
I'm always very curious when we go back and read all the comments.
I know, me
It's
too.
like, oh, we have some people from Iceland and all kinds of fun places.
Yes.
So for our giveaway today, we are doing the Wrapit Loom Professional Series Duo. Now this is one of our latest kits, and they are launching today actually at Beadaholique.com. And for this one, you're going to get the pink version, and you're going to get not only the Wrapit Loom Pro, but you're also going to get all the supplies to make this bracelet. And here is the finished example of what you're going to get to make, and it's just, these are so fun to work with. So you will get this, and then you'll also get a refill kit, and we'll kind of explain what those are in just a minute, but you're going to get a refill kit of our cotton cord kit. Now these have been on our website for a little while, so you're going to get this gorgeous blue color with this kind of nautical gold, and I just love this one. And then we also are going to give you some more beads and leather cords and some buttons and just some fun stuff to kind of get you started with maybe designing your own, or to help jumpstart you into creating some beautiful colorways. So that is our giveaway. It is a $50 value. So be sure to, like Julie was saying, just leave a comment. That's all it takes to enter.
Yep. So it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to start by showing you the original Wrapit Loom kit. And I think I was the first one who got to play with it here, and I was so excited.
I was so jealous.
I know. Well, sometimes those things come across our desk that are just really cool, and you are bubbling with excitement and you just want to share it. So I think once I started working with this, I was very much in that mindset of like, you guys have to see this. So this is the one that I actually started with, and if I open it up here, I'm going to show you what you get. So in it, you're going to get full instructions on how to actually set it up, and you are going to get these instructions here which show you how to do the beading. So I'll show you that. And then on the back side are some more details. So just a lot of really detailed instructions. We also do have full videos on just about everything you're going to see discussed here on our YouTube channel. So please check that out and go over there and subscribe so you can get the updates. But in this original one, you get the loom, which is what you see right here. I already have one assembled. So you're going to get the main track, you're going to get the little feet, the anchors. You're also going to get like a little bead tray, which is in here. And then you're going to get some supplies to get you going right away. So you'll see here, you're going to get some wrap line, some outer cord, some little buttons, and a whole bunch of little beads to play with. So this is a great gift idea. It's all set, it's ready to go. You don't have to purchase anything else, and you are just ready to start playing the moment it arrives. Now, let's say though you want to do something with maybe a little bit of a longer bracelet design, a double wrap, a triple wrap, whatever it may be. You might be interested in the Professional Series.
Yeah, so this is the Professional Series Duo, and you can see that the box just looks a little bit different. But the difference here is that you are also going to get those lovely instructions. So if you, don't worry if this is not sort of an advanced one, it's just going to provide you with that sort of longer track. So you'll get that lovely instruction booklet there. And of course, as Julie was saying, we do have a video. So for this one, I'm actually going to take it out and we're going to set it up. So I have 3 little bead trays here, and these are nice little scoops, but I'm going to set those aside for right now. I'm going to pull out my 2 tracks here. Now this is the main difference between the Duo and the regular loom. You can see on the regular you get 1 track, but for the Pro you'll get 2, so you can make those longer bracelets. I'm going to set that up in just a second here. I have my 2 little feet.
And one quick note as she's getting all these supplies out is you can actually combine these. So if you have already gotten a Wrapit Loom and you're interested in the additional tracks, you can use this track here and combine it. So you can even then at that point have a bracelet which is 3 tracks long.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I discovered that was actually really, really cool, because I was like, oh no, I already have a Wrapit, but you can actually combine them together. So you're going to take your 2 tracks, and they have a male end and a female end here, and you just sort of slip them together, and they kind of sit together, so they're nice and interlocked, and they're actually really tight in there, which is great. And then I'm just going to flip it over here, and you're going to get 2 feet. So I like to kind of position mine maybe at the 3 or 4 notch, and you just kind of press them in. There's no tools to assemble this, which is great. So I have my little feet ready to go. And now I'm going to take, I'm going to take that male end here, and this is the part that will hold my button closure, and you just see the bottom there fits nicely on, and you just kind of slide it into place, and you'll hear a nice little click, and it's on, and it's nice and secure. You can just sort of test it with your hands. And then onto the other side, you're going to have your slider portion, and this will help you size your beads. So you'll see how this works in just a minute, but that should slide nice and easily on your track. And then here is that bead stand that we were talking about. You can either set it in there to help you, oops, this side. You can set it in there to help you with, I swear I've done this before. You can set it in there to help feed your beads to help you string them a little bit easier.
I'll just show you real quick. See, they just kind of scoot on down there, and then they're ready to be picked up.
Yeah, so it kind of is like a little helping hand
as
you're doing your bead work. So I'm going to set this aside, but I want to show you how to start the actual loom.
I'm going to give you a little bit more room right here.
I know, I was like, the track is a little large. All right, so I have 2 yards of my leather cord here. Now this is the 1.5 millimeter cord, and this is a beautiful white color, and we have lots of different colors, and we're going to be showing you that in just a little bit here, but let me be really professional and get this untangled on live TV. So what I'm going to do first is I am going to take my button closure. Now this is one style of button that you could use. We also have a different style of button I'm going to show you on the piece that I'm wearing here. It's got a little bit of a shank. This is the same starting technique no matter which style of button. So if you're confused about that, don't worry, I'm going to show you. All right, so I'm just going to string on my button. And what I need to do is I need to string that button so that it is in the center of my cord. So I'm just going to string it all the way down. Should have music. Music for this.
You wouldn't want me to sing. Trust me. I could try, but yeah.
She's like, no. Please don't make me sing. So I have my button in the center of my shank there, and now I'm just going to take both those cords and do an overhand knot and just pull that leather through. Now with this style of button, you're going to want to leave just a little bit of room at the top there so that it will fit nice and easily over the hole that I'm going to create. And you want to make sure that your leather cords are nice and even. There we go. I'm just kind of working it up towards the front there. There we go. So you can see that I left a little bit of space just so that it'll lay nicely once I put it over a hole. All right, so now I have that set to go, and I'm going to place it into my Pro, and I'm going to place it in between the button and the knot there. Now what you're going to want to do is, I already know the size that I want, but you're going to want to measure this to see how much it's going to wrap around your wrist, and you can either test it on your wrist or you can use a ruler, it's up to you. But just to kind of show you here, so I'm going to wrap it once around my wrist and twice. So that is where I want my knot to be. So very simple, very technical technique. So we're just going to take it, and I'm going to, from the first one here, I'm going to tie another overhand knot. And then I'm going to, again, keeping those cords nice and even, because you want to have that nice even cord right there. And I'm just going to make a little knot. And that is going to be my very first knot. And I'm going to take this out actually so that you can see how I'm gonna size that second knot, because you're gonna wanna create a loop for that button to fit through. So I know that I need to put my next knot right about there, because that'll be enough space for it to fit through. So now just kind of holding it with my fingers. And this is where you just want to kind of go slow and test that that knot is where you want it to be for that second loop. All right, so I'm just going to kind of go slow before I tighten it up officially. There we go. And just slide my button through there, making sure that it fits nicely. And that'll work. That's all you need to do. And now from here, what you can do for sizing purposes, you can tie another knot and then another knot. It just is entirely up to you. You'll see that the reason I recommend having 2 yards of cord is that you want to make sure that you have enough cord to get the sizing correct. So now I'm just going to place it back into my loom here. And keeping those cords on the top separated, what you're going to do is you're going to move to your slider end here. And I'm going to put right in between those 2 knots, right in between that little slider piece, just like so. And now my slider piece, you'll see here on the bottom, you'll watch it kind of click a couple, there we go, because you want that nice and taut. All right. So now I'm gonna, Julie, would you help me take my Griffin silk off that card? So this is the size 4 of the Griffin silk, and it comes with this little twisted wire needle, which is really cool. So I'm gonna take that off and take all of it off of my card. Now, if you're doing just a regular or an original Wrapit, you won't need 2 cards of Griffin silk. You'll just need 1. So I'm going to show you kind of how it works with 1, and then I'm going to show you how you do it with 2, just to kind of give you a little bit of a guide. So let's say I had just a regular Wrapit. What I would do is I would find the center of my Griffin silk. So one end will have a needle, and then onto the other end, I'm going to want to add another twisted wire needle. And it looks just like this. It looks very similar to the original side. So it has just a little eye. So you would slip it over there, so that, because you're going to want 2 needles on either side. So what you would do is you would just take the center and lay it across, and then you would wrap it around, pull it through, and then tie your knot. Now, because for this one I need a second piece of Griffin silk, because this is going to be so long, I'm going to take both ends without the needles.
There you go.
Thank you, Julie. Cooking show assistant. So I have both my ends without the needles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a surgeon's knot. So you just cross it over, you dip it down, and then to your top here, if you've ever done sutures or anything, you just wrap it around the top there, and then you're pulling this knot together. Now, if you want for extra security, because the Griffin silk is silk, so it is a little slippery, I'm just going to add just a little overhand knot. But you don't want to knot it too much, and don't worry, we'll be adding a little spot of glue to this when we go to do our finishing technique later. So that is how you kind of start it. So this is now my midpoint, so what I'm going to do is put that little knot kind of in the center of those 2 cords, and it's the same. I'm just going to wrap the right hand side all the way around that cord and pull it out to the side, and take the left hand cord, wrap it around the left hand leather, and pull that all the way out to the side. All right, and the last step before we really start adding beads and getting it started is I'm gonna scooch it up towards the top. I'll get my hands out of the way in just a second. There we go. So you have one cord wrapped out to the right, the other cord wrapped out to the left, and now I'm just gonna take those 2 cords, and just for a tad extra security, I'm just going to tie one more tiny little knot. See, we need music. All right.
Yeah, give us your music suggestions in the comments.
do you bead to music? I'd love to hear what it is. All right, so now we're getting ready, and now we're going to start our beading. So this is always how you start each row, is you wrap it through the center and out to the side. And you never want to crisscross over at this step, so I'm going to pull it apart and you're going to see. So you have both of your cords just like so. All right, so now onto my right hand needle here, I'm going to start by adding one of my 8/0 seed beads, and that is onto the right hand needle there. And I'm going to take my left hand needle and I'm going to put it through, crisscrossing, going the other direction. And now I'm just going to pull those to the side. So it's going to come all the way down. And when you start on a pro, you're going to have lots of that Griffin silk to get through. So just be patient and let it slide all the way down. And this is my favorite part, when it just pops right into the center of that leather cord. See? Just, it's a nice way to kind of get it started. So I'm going to do that. And now I'm just going to continue, and I'm going to move a little bit faster, just kind of wrapping both out to the side here. All right. And now to kind of graduate it, because I want to use some larger beads, I'm going to put on 2 of my 8 seed beads here, just like so. And I'm going to kind of pull one through at one time without getting all of my tools tangled. And there we go on the next one. Now you'll notice that in order to kind of expand these, you can use a couple of different techniques. I'm using just 8 seed beads and just adding 1 each time, just like so. And Julie's going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a second. But you can already see how now my piece is getting wider, so it's nice and tapered. So I'm going to keep adding a few more beads, and I'm actually going to work up to adding one of our donut beads here. So I'm going to do that next. And Julie is going to start talking about some of the different ways to use some of these really unique different beads.
Yeah, so I have a piece started right here if you want to take a look. So this is, you see here, it's just using the one piece of Griffin silk. And here you can see how I started it, like Kat explained, where I just found the midway point, started it in the middle here, wrapped it under. You see a very discreet little knot right there, and then started my wrapping. And I started with a 4mm Swarovski pearl and went up to a 6mm. So that was a really nice little tapered effect. So what I want to show you now is, and this was actually something I was doing as I was designing this bracelet, I was like, well, what do I want to do? Do I just want to do all pearls, which could be very pretty and simple, but I want to show you what it would look like to pop in something a little bit fancier. So sometimes you come across those beads that you just love, and you want to be able to just use 1, 2, or 3 of them. So these are little beadel beads. So that's how that would look with the crystal one. And so these are 8mm, so they are getting a little bit larger. There's another one, so you see how it changes the look quite a bit. And you can do that. You can just have a little focal of some really special beads. But the one I'm going to put in here are these little tiara cast trapezoids, and these are metal, which I think is nice because I've got a little gold metal clasp, which is my button in there. And so I've got my loom all set up, and I'm going to add a different shaped bead here because it is a trapezoid. I want to show you something you can do with it. Now I have the Griffin silk needle right here, and I've gotten a lot of questions about can you use big eye needles instead of the twisted wire. The answer is yes, I do have a big eye needle. It creates a little bit more bulk right here where the thread ends up doubled. So just test your whole bead size. So like here is a pearl, a Swarovski pearl, and it's a little bit tight to pull over it. So what you're going to want to do is pull it over the big eye needle side first. So then you pull it all the way through so that doubled thread is gone. And then at that point, use your Griffin silk needle. So it's just not quite as much bulk going through it at once. So then that one goes through nice and easy, and we just slide her on down, and it pops into place, and you see how that is. And so that was exactly what Kat was doing, but with a pearl. Now I do want to add the little trapezoids because I think they're going to look really cool as a center of metal, a little metal element. So here I've got a trapezoid. I'm going to put it through. Again, going through the big eye needle side first, if you are using a big eye needle. And then the Griffin silk. And then we're going to pull it down. And you can see how that is. And then what I want to do, because these are a really cool shape, I want to stagger them going in opposite directions. So we're just going to do the wrapping the same as normal. And you just keep your needle on the thread the whole time. You're not taking your needle off to do the wrapping and putting it back in place. So now we're just going to do the exact same thing, but we're going to make sure that this is oriented properly. Okay, and we're going to pull it down and You can see how that's going to lay. So that I think is really fun, how you can mix and match your beads. You don't have to just do the same ones. Also, you can go ahead and use different colors of wrap line, different colors of the leather cord or cotton cord. So like here I have an example, and this would be the exact same basic bracelet, just with different beads. So it's the same length, same button, but I've used a really pretty colored leather cord here on the outside. Used a different color wrap line, and then these are crystals. So these are Swarovski crystals, kind of in a color block design, and you can see they really do shine. So you can switch up your design with the beads, with the buttons, with the wrap line color, with the the leather cord on the outside. There's different thicknesses and diameter for the leather cord. And then you can also use cotton cord as well. And actually, Kat, I know she's in the middle of doing some great beadwork here, but she has some options in front of her. Maybe I can help point to them as she's beading.
I just wanted to finish up this last little one here because I got excited over here. Sorry. I was excited to add these donut rondelles, and I'm actually very pleased with the result. I thought I was just going to have a solid pattern of rondelles, but just those added metallic beads in between is actually really making the design pop in a way, because these particular donut rondelles have that matte finish to them. So I kind of like this. So I'm going to finish this last one, I promise, and then I'll go on.
Well, and I like how the wrap line becomes a design element.
Yeah.
You know, you could have gone with white and it just would have pretty much disappeared and all you would have seen with the beads, but you're getting this really nice striped effect with the colored wrap line.
It's kind of cool. So, so speaking of the different kinds of material you can use, so this is that white leather, and like I was saying, this is the 1.5 millimeter. We also have 2 millimeter as well. But we have this lovely cotton cord, and this comes in some really great colors. So this is one of my favorites. I just love the turquoise. It's so classic, but we do have some blue. And I just wanted to point out here, so now you can see the difference in size. So this is the 1.5 and this is the 2. Now this is the cotton cord, and this is a nice structure that you can use for these bracelets and, you know, just really kind of explore that. But the main thing I want to point out to you is that sizing this cord is just your preference. When you go to size your Griffin silk, that's what you're going to want to look at, as Julie was saying, for getting that cord through your beads, because this Griffin silk is not going through any beads, or I'm sorry, this leather is not going through any beads. It's the Griffin silk that you have to test. Now, I want to show you on a couple of the cards that I have pulled here. So we have number 0, 2, 4, 6, and then it jumps to 16. But you'll notice it has these little markings on there that lets you know exactly how thick it is. So that will help you when you're kind of looking at a bead. You'll see the whole size, and then you'll need to know how much you can fit. Now, as you can see, I'm fitting 2 cords through, and you'll always be fitting 2 cords through of your Griffin silk, but you'll also need to be aware that if you have a needle, like a big eye needle like Julie was showing you, you're actually fitting 3 cords through there. So you might need to just kind of adjust and be careful about that. But we found that the size 4 is the one that works best for most.
Yes, absolutely.
But you can use the 2 if you're working with some smaller pearls or smaller gemstones, so you can make this as delicate or as wide and thick as you want it to be.
Yeah, and if you have some beads which do have bigger holes and you want this outside to be more of a design element and you want to really play off that, then you could go up to a thicker one. It might look really interesting. You're really getting more of that texture. So yeah, really play with it. I think the thing we found that we love about these looms and the bracelets you create on them is you have so many different options of what you can do.
Oh, yeah.
This actually might be a really good time to show some of the fun options.
Yeah, so actually what Julie was saying is if you're using a bigger of a large hole bead here, so this was done by our designer Alexandra, and she had the great idea to use some of that sea glass in there. So you can see that she still used a size 4, but these holes are large enough that you could use a larger size Griffin silk, but she wanted to still use that 4 millimeter of the check glass fire polished. So that is there, and that's just kind of a really cool thing. But I do want to point out that sometimes you might need a thinner one, especially if you're working with 2 hole beads where you're kind of getting those cords through there. But they just, you know, especially on this one, you can really see that it is a design element. You know, the color, like the blue brings the orange together and that kind of thing there.
Yeah. So that's really a fun thing where you could really play off the 2-hole beads. I think you could use a lot of beads you might have or you've been wanting to do something with. This is a great option. Now let's say you just want to get going with the Rapids and you want to take some of the work out of picking your beads, or maybe you want to give it as a gift. So we've created some exclusive Beadaholique kits, and they are right below me here. And so these actually are just being released today.
Yeah. So
these are brand new. And so the designers have gone ahead and we've picked the color combos, we've picked the proper Griffin silk. So it'll really get you started. And these are gemstones with leather, and you can see you can make a double wrap. I just want to show you some of the different color combos because I know sometimes it can be a little overwhelming to pick out color combos and make that cord match and all. And so we've done that for you.
Yeah, a lot of the guesswork is taken out with the kits. And I honestly, it's funny. Every time I look at this group of kits, I have a new favorite color.
I know, me too.
Like, I really liked the orange, but now I'm like, oh God, that turquoise and white is just so pretty.
Yeah, I'm loving the turquoise. So we've got those. And then a little while back, we did release these ones, which are a little different take on it. And these actually have a cotton cord outside, and we're using really pretty check glass beads that sparkle. It's got that nice metallic center, so you can see these. So a couple different options for you if you want to just be like, I just want to get going. I just want to get started. So you can pick up one of these kits, and if you already have the loom, you can buy a refill kit. So if you're not familiar with how our kits work, usually if there's a kit that has a tool involved, such as the loom, a kumihimo disc, anything like that, we have the full kit, which means you'll get everything you need. You're going to get the beads, you're going to get usually the needles, you're going to get the loom, whatever the main tool might be. But once you've already purchased that, if you just want to make more of the color variations, or sometimes we come up with a whole new series of like loom kits, or in this case, we have another series of Wrapit kits, you can just buy the refill. And that's what like this thing here in this giveaway is, where you're getting all the supplies for the project minus the tools. So that's really a nice option too if you want to make a bunch of these for gifts or just for yourself, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and just to call out the giveaway again, if you're just joining us, we always do a giveaway live while we're doing the class. And you're going to get one of those pink Wrapit looms, and this is going to be the leather double wrapped version. You're going to get that refill kit, and you're going to get the beautiful blue and gold version. And then we're going to give you, just to kind of start you off, some coordinated colors of Griffin silk, some check glass beads. We're going to give you some Toho seed beads, as well as some beautiful leather cord and some buttons to just kind of play with it and have fun. So you're going to get a lot to get started on these.
Yes. Okay, so I know we've done a lot of talking here. There's a lot to cover. We do have some questions, and for sure, before this class is over, Kat is going to show us how to finish off your Wrapit. So you'll be able to have seen the start, the actual beading, and the finishing, so you'll be set to go. But we do have some questions, and Rachel is going to be asking them for us on your behalf since we don't have a screen in front of us.
And we'll repeat the questions so you guys can hear them.
Absolutely.
So Terry asks, how do you make the wrap pieces with designs?
Oh, that's a really good question. So Terry had asked, how do you make the wrap pieces with designs on them? So I think there's a couple different ways of going about it.
Yeah.
Some people actually like to do, I know I love doing colored pencils and graph paper. That's a really simple way of doing it. You figure out how wide you want it to be, and the graph paper has little squares already set to go for you.
Yep, I was just going to say, this is a great example.
This is a great example. So you can actually use colored pencils and just fill in where you want the dots to be. Some of it is just playing, trial and error.
Trial and error.
And then I do know there are some software programs out there that can do loom patterns for you. So you can go ahead and look that up and see if there's some software available.
Yeah, and it's the same if you did try to look up something that is for like a beaded loom, more the traditional style. It's the same format as this, where you're going to get those nice, neat little rows right across. So if you can find some loom software, this is exactly the same pattern that you'll need to set up for that.
And that's why actually graph paper is really good as well, because it's nice straight lines. It's not like peyote where it's staggered. Yeah. So if you do want to do some graph paper and colored pencils, that's a really good option too.
Yeah, that'll help kind of just put what's in your head onto the paper to see if it's going to work. And there have been many pieces that I've taken apart because I'm like, I don't like that.
And I think with something like this, I mean, this is definitely like a pattern where you have a design. But if you're talking about a pattern like this, this was playing. This
Yeah.
was experimenting. And we do have these on as projects on our website, and you can go and look and see how to do them. And most of these are videos as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of this type of pattern is really just playing, seeing how the beads fit together, how they look, and doing a lot of experimenting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I really enjoyed working with the 2-hole beads, just especially with these beads here. These are tangos, and they just kind of just sort of fit together, and I just wanted to do that little arrowhead pattern. So honestly, I kind of arranged them on my work surface to kind of figure out how I wanted them to lay and fit together. So, I mean, that would be a little more difficult if they were seed beads, but for some of the 2-hole beads, you can kind of see how they're going to notch together for you, and just kind of, I just lay it out on my table.
Yep. Okay, now we have another question.
Question from Deborah.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi.
Is the stringing always right then left? How does the directions go?
The stringing right and left. No, it's complete preference. In fact, if you wanted to, you could string on your beads, slide them all the way down, and then take your other needle and then slide it all the way out. You can put it on the needle and then crisscross it. You just keep kind of going like this back and forth. So lefties, righties, it's all the same.
Yeah, it's not like a knotting technique where I know when you're doing a lot of knotting, it does matter, like left or
like
right
which
first
side.
for to get like a spiral pattern or something like that. But with this, it really is just anchoring those beads in place, and you'll see that you get these really nice uniform wraps regardless of which direction you go first.
Yeah.
And another question?
Question from Kimmy.
Hi, Kimmy.
What's the best string option for size 8 seed beads, would you say?
I would say Griffin silk size 4.
Yeah, so she's asking what is the best
I'm sorry.
size. Oh, that's okay. What is the best size for size 8 seed beads? So what I'm using here is these are 8/0 seed beads here, and I'm using a size 4. So yeah, size 4.
We do like size 4.
You know, it's because it's kind of the middle of the road. It's enough to show up without being too flimsy, and it just, I think it fits the majority of beads. Don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I would say size 4 for that because I've worked with it and it works.
Yeah. There's also a lot of color options.
Yeah, there are. I think that we have the most color options in the size 4, and then followed by the size 2 and 6. So it's kind of on either side there, but they're very, very close. It's not like there's an inch, in between. They're just, what is it, a 1/10 of a millimeter.
Yeah.
So they're very, very close.
I wanted to actually quickly pull up some more of the designs that we haven't shown yet. And again, these are by Rachel. She's the one who's giving us these questions and is looking at all your questions, and she is such a wonderful designer. And she's really like, these Wrapits are amazing that she's been doing. She uses the little Delicas, which we've been talking, this looks so boutique-y.
It does. It looks expensive.
It looks really expensive.
It's nice.
And then here you see bugle beads, and then some other beads here and different buttons to choose. And so a lot of really fun options that you can do.
You can do a large button like this here, or I kind of like these new tiny tiara cast buttons. They're just sort of nice and neat. And I'm just going to pull one of these off of here, actually. And this is a triple wrap one. And the way you do that is you just sort of put 3 tracks together. So just kind of nice and easy, but you can get that triple wrap. And again, we were showing the Delica one, and this is 4 wraps that you can do as well. And speaking of 4 wraps,
I know, we were so excited. We both thought of it at the same time.
So if you've been following us on Facebook Live, our designer Rachel has been kind of showing you this for the last couple of weeks, and we're just, it's so gorgeous. This is a belt that she made using the Wrapit Loom. So it's not just for bracelets. And this uses some of the gorgeous check glass Matuba beads, and they're tri-cut, so they have those beautiful facets to them. I just love this piece.
And I want to show you especially the start and the end point of this, because it's the exact same technique as the bracelets. So she didn't change anything except for the length and the width, but the technique was the same, the starting was the same, the ending was the same. She just had this great idea, and it was great. She put it on, and it looked fantastic. So it was really a very wearable piece, and it's quite sturdy. These beads are on here. They're not going to fall off. You can definitely wear it and enjoy it, so that's a great option. I think we were also talking it'd be fun to do a choker with this.
Oh, yeah.
It's something we haven't done before.
And chokers are very trendy right now.
Yeah.
And just the fact that you can make it so delicate. I mean, because just look at how wide that is, and it works for a belt, but then you can also see how thin something can be and how delicate and tiny. Because imagine if you just did that with just 1 row of the Delicas. It would just be so teeny tiny and delicate.
Yeah.
And I love that. So it's something for everybody.
All right, so Kat's gonna finish off
I'm
one.
going to show you how to finish off, and this is kind of a different thing. So kind of going back to the different beads that we were talking about here, I'm actually going to just move these out of the way for a minute. So I've actually been using the spike crystalettes, and they look like this. I'll just kind of show you the cross section there in my hand. So they have these little shanks on the back, but they're little like crystalette buttons, and I've been using the spikes. So just as a quick note, for the majority of the pieces that you're probably going to do on this, they're not going to have a front and a back, but this one I wanted to have a front and a back. So as you're working, because those knots are going to be on top, this is going to serve as my back. So I kind of created this little spiked look, and it's very cool. It's very dragon-like. So I'm going to show you how to finish it. So what I've done here is I've gotten to the end, and you can see that I have, I'd say about a ½ inch there. Now what I've done overnight, and you can just leave this for a few hours, is what you're going to want to do is just sort of kick that tension back and let it relax and hang out. Because what's going to happen is that leather's been tensioned and stretched. So you want to let it relax, because you, at this point, have the option to add another row, or you can start tapering. Now I think for mine, I'm ready to add, I think, one more row. So like I said, I've let it relax. So now when I'm ready to continue, I'm just going to kick that tension back so it's nice and taut. I have my wraps going already. So I'm going to add one more row here of my 2 seed beads. And then I think I'm going to start tapering here. So yeah, so one more row. Now this taper might take a little bit longer. Like if, for example, if you're making something similar to the belt, the taper is a few rows. So it might not be as simple as what I'm going to show you here, but it is the same technique. All right, so I think I'm actually good with that. You can see I have some bubbling up there, so I'm just going to kind of run my fingers along the side just to scooch some of those things down. There we go. Now, I'm sure some of you might have some questions about the tension. And the tension on the sides is you don't want to yank it too hard, because you're going to end up with ripples that you might not want there. If you're going for a scalloped look, that's one thing. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just take my needle, and it kind of gets tight in there. So this is where you're going to want to just go slow, use your needle. All right, and now for the last one here, I'm just going to add one more tiny seed bead. Now I have a little bit of extra room in there, but I'm happier with a little extra room than trying to shove extra beads in there, because you don't want it to kind of bubble for you. All right, so just crisscross, and there we go. And now I have plenty of room to do my nice little knot. So what I'm going to do is, again, just take my needle and wrap it around. There we go. Underneath. Now I'm going to take these 2 cord ends here, and I'm going to tie a quick overhand knot. And what's nice about the black on black is it does kind of disappear in there, so you're not kind of having to worry about a lot of little knots. And I have enough room here. I'm actually going to repeat that process. Now you have an option. You can do a double knot right where I just had one there and just tie it off and be done with it. But I have a little extra space that I'm going to fill. So I'm going to take my needle, and now I'm going to tie a double knot. So there's my first knot. And you can just see that they're kind of nice and hidden, especially when it's that black on black there. So if you're using the same color leather or cotton cord, you can do that as well. All right, so that is my double knot. So now you have 2 options with glue. Actually, you have many options, but I recommend the GS Hypo Cement or using the E6000. So for today, I'm going to use the E6000. And the only tool that you're going to need to applicate this is just a toothpick or just a little scrap of wire. We often use that around here because we often have tiny little scraps of wire everywhere. So I'm going to just place it onto my Griffin silk card. Or onto a Post-it note or any other surface that you have. You don't need a lot of glue. You can see I just had a little dab there. I'm not even going to use that much. So I just get a little bit onto my toothpick there, and I'm just going to dab it into that knot and just kind of work it onto that silk. Now this silk is going to kind of absorb that glue, so you don't need a whole heck of a lot. Actually, I'm just going to kind of move that glue around there. So I'm going to let that sit, but on the other side, if you had that, let me actually bring it back. this is my Pro. Thank you, Julie. And on this side here, you have that extra knot up at the top. So when you're finished on the other side, you can just go ahead and add that dab of glue there before you trim off the ends. Let me just get some fresh glue. There we go. This does dry fairly quickly, but I do recommend waiting at least 24 hours just to let it really solidify before putting any wear on it. You can also just kind of leave it on there like that before clipping the ends. But I am going to move back to my original piece here for just a hot second. And I'm going to cheat and I'm going to trim my ends off now, just because I want to show you how it looks. There we go. All right, and then to take it off, you just kick it back. And this has a nice little teeth that you can just kind of open that up. And I'm just going to slide that out to the side. And at this point, you can decide if you want to do one of those extra knots. I had a little extra on my cord here, but I think I am just going to clip it because I sized it earlier. And that's it. And then you are all done. So that is a completed Wrapit piece. And it just kind of, I just love the spikes. It actually just turned out much. You know what? I didn't think I was going to like it. Have you ever started a piece and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to like that? I really like it.
I'm glad you pushed
really
through.
Like this one. Yeah.
And I like the green. Like you said, it's very dragon-like with the spikes in the green.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do know we have another question. So Rachel's going to go ahead and let us know what that is.
Patty asks, can you use large hole beads on the Wrapit Loom?
Okay, Patty has asked if you can use large hole beads on the Wrapit Loom. So I think the answer is yes. We were actually just discussing this in the design space. What I would recommend, and we do have to test this and we will do a video on it because it is on our to-do list. I think you're going to want to somehow make those large holes smaller, and that's a little weird sounding, but you're going to want to do that by probably putting a bead on either side of it that would go a little bit into the large hole and then have a small hole coming out the other side. So almost like you have a 4 millimeter or a 5 millimeter sandwiching that large hole bead, because if you're just putting the cord, the wrap line through the large hole, you might have a little bit of unevenness, and wiggling is what we're kind of a little bit concerned about. We will test it out, and if you can do it straight, we will definitely let you know. But kind of our thought was maybe you need like a little bead cap or a little insert or just a little something to make it so that your wrap lines are even on the outside, especially if you're going to be using a contrast color for your wrap line where you're going to see it. Perhaps if you're using like a black on black, it might not be as noticeable.
Right.
But yeah, it's on our to-do list, and it was just yesterday.
We were talking about it yesterday, and especially as Julie was talking about some of those really crystallized beads, we were just like, oh, because so many people have at least one of those beads, or, you can have several. I know moms tend to have birthstone colors, and I think that's great. So we want to definitely show you guys that technique. So we'll figure it out and let you know.
Yes, and we will do a video.
Because that'll be a great video, actually.
Yeah, that'll be a really fun video. And we have another question.
Barb asks, on the Pro Loom, are the matte beads donut beads?
They are. The one that I started, I assume you're talking about here. Let me bring it back. I have all my cords everywhere. Yes, these are check glass donut beads, and like I was saying, these are actually a new color that is launching at Beadaholique.com today, so you can see that under our new products. And here I have a pile of them, so you can kind of see these little guys here as well.
We have some more that we can show you that was done in this bracelet.
And Julie made this bracelet. She actually did this in a video, so if you guys are looking for that too. But these are just the check glass donut rondelles, and we do have different sizes of these. Ones that actually are quite large, so they could look really fun on the Wrapit Loom, especially if you maybe graduated them. So lots of different sizes in the same color. So it could be a cool graduation. So so those are check glass donut rondelles.
So I think if you haven't already left a comment and you're watching, please leave a comment. It'll enter you in a chance to win our giveaway. And we are just about ready to pick a winner. So leave a comment right now and still be included in it. And then we're going to ask Rachel to go ahead and select a winner. And it's random, completely random. So we do a random number generator, so we don't actually have any say in who wins, and that's part of the fun of it too.
Yeah, and if you happen to be watching this not live after the fact, please still leave your comments below. We'll be answering them throughout the coming weeks and stuff, or if you have a suggestion for a video that you want to see, this is your opportunity to reach us to be like, hey, how do I do that?
Absolutely.
So that's great. So like I said, even if you're not watching live, be sure to leave your comments below and we'll be here to answer them.
Yeah. And we love video ideas too. We are always doing videos, and like that wonderful large hole video idea, please leave us video ideas. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, please go check it out. We have hundreds and hundreds, I almost feel like I can say thousands at this point of beading videos, and if you subscribe, that's great. You'll get notifications when there's more. So please do go over to our YouTube channel and give us ideas, because we are always looking for it. And we have a winner, and Deborah Satcher.
I hope we said that right.
Yeah.
So Deborah, what you're going to do is you're going to send us a message and let us know where we can send your giveaway. So congratulations.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, well, this has been fun. Definitely still leave us questions and comments. We will answer them, and ideas, and we hope to see you again for our next Facebook Live class.
Yeah, which will be in September, so we do one every month.
Yep.
So
every month we do one, and then we also do Bead Table Wednesdays on every Wednesday, where we just show you what we're working on, and then we also do Facebook Live on Friday with Kat showing you what's new at Beadaholique.
So today what's new is our Wrapit Loom kits with the leather and our donut rondelles. So we kind of showed that to you here, so we'll be doing not another video. I guess I kind of covered it. So, but thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And as always, happy beading.
Yeah. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.